I've got two or three in this sort of, I don't know what they are. They're prosy, I guess, but they're sort of little sketches about a few characters. And this one's called Goodnight Crummy Willie. He's a guy I traveled with for 4 or 5 days. Goodnight Crummy Willie. Crummy Willie lifts the can off the fire and stirs the beans with a small stick. He's tired from a long day on a slow train. Damn me if that wasn't the slowest ride I've ever had. And that kid, something wrong with him. Kept offering food to him, wouldn't eat a thing. Said it's no good for you, too much of this or that in it. Well, what the hell, I told him, you gotta eat and eat whatever you can get. I think he escaped from some kind of nut house or something. He seemed sort of touched me. Willie's shaking his head and scratching at his foot by the firelight. And he didn't drink or smoke or want to talk. I think he's a little touched. Willie pours the beans and ham hocks from the big can into our smaller ones. And while we fill our empty bellies, he talks about the fine, free lives we are living. It's like I told that crazy kid, says Willie. There's 2 things in my life I've never missed. A meal is one, and a freight train is the other. Now, I ain't saying I haven't put that meal off a day or two, and them trains left more than once when I wasn't ready to go, but I ain't missed either of them yet. Willie climbs under his dirty blankets, grinning, tickled with his joke, knowing we were too. Well, it's time for this old fart to get some sleep. It's gonna be a big day tomorrow. Good night, fellas. Good night, Crummy Willie. And let's see, I think I'll read this. Oh, here's another one. This is called Lee. I think this is a guy that Steve and I hung out with under a bridge for a while. Lee. Oh, Spookaloo is Spokane. All the tramps call Spokane Spookaloo. Other night I was in Spookaloo waiting to catch out on that California man. Got so damn cold though, I said hell with it and hot-footed it to the mission for a shower and some eats. Must have been 100 other tramps there by the time I showed up. We was all packed in that hall like sardines waiting for the preaching to end so we could get some grub. Well, let me tell you, that preacher got himself real worked up and kept slamming his fist down, yelling, we're going to take these sinners, these loose women and prostitutes, and we're going to move them to the other side of the river. And, with God's help, we're going to get all the whiskey in town, and we're going to pour it in the river. He was real fired up, all right. But he finally cooled down, and time came for him to finish off his message. Men, I hope you've gotten something out of my sermon tonight. Is there a favorite song from your hymnal you'd like to close with? Behind me, the skinny little beau stands up and yells, yeah, page 86, let us gather by the river. Here's a poem called Salt Lake Before Noon. Morning blows out the last star, and already tall wet grass along the rails begins to steam. Across a steel blue sea of track, the hollow ring of iron echoes down a string of boxcars as switch engines make up the early trains. We walk north along the riverbank, following the muddy Ogden through cottonwood stands and old railroad yards, all rusted and glittering in the sun. If we catch the Rio Grande, you say, we'll make Salt Lake before noon. We step quickly between the ties on well-packed ballast. Up the track, poplar trees flicker in the breeze of a passing freight. The whole world's in blossom. And with luck, Salt Lake before noon.